You want to know how a story can flip your entire understanding of what courage looks like? Okay, let me take you back to a Tuesday morning in San Jose, where the air in the corridors of Sloan Dynamics was so thick with secrets you could almost taste the static, and all I had on my mind was making it through another graveyard shift with my daughter, Maya. She's only 12, but Maya's not like most kids, quieter, more curious, with this way of listening to machines like they're whispering riddles only she can solve. That day, she was holding a mop in one hand, following me down the server hallways at sunrise. Not really here to work, just tagging along because I didn't want her home alone. The building was quiet, supposed to be locked down, but the West Wing was open for floor waxing, which I thought was no big deal until Maya's voice cut through the silence calm. Too calm, telling me, "Dad, someone's hijacking the system." Now, I'll be honest, I thought she was seeing ghosts. I mean, it's 6 in the morning. Who'd be tunneling into government contract servers at this hour? But she points to a blinking red monitor, the kind of code that shouldn't be moving like that, especially not so early. And when she let that mop handle drop and stepped up to the rack, I knew something serious was unfolding, something way out of our pay grade. She whispered, "It's not a screen error. Someone's tunneling into their backup drives." There was no fear in her voice, just this odd certainty that made the little hairs on my arms stand up. Meanwhile, 3 floors up, the CEO, Claire Monroe, was already in crisis mode. Her dashboard's frozen, fingerprint pads buzzing red, and her tech director's calling her from the basement, voice trembling. "We're seeing multiple breaches, potential internal takeover," the kind of call that makes you drop your latte and not even notice. Suddenly, all the alarms start going off, and that's when the IT staffers sprint into the corridor, pale as sheets, catching Maya pointing right at the trouble spot. They asked us what we were doing there, and I'm just holding my badge, trying to look official. Maya, cool as ever, says, "Check the parity logs around 2:07 a.m. That's when it started. Reverse the node path from internal route F4. When the text goes white right. I swear I saw the moment he realized it, and suddenly, everyone's in a rush to get the news up to Clara. 15 minutes later, we're standing in a lower-level server room, Maya, and a wall of engineers. Maya is clutching her mop bucket, looking like a misplaced ghost. Clara walks in, looks at my daughter, then at the code. "Who is this?" I say, "My daughter," but before she can order Maya out, the lead engineer speaks up. She flagged the code before we did. If we run her trace model, we might isolate the source before it replicates company-wide. Clara walks right up to Maya, doesn't blink, just says, "You have 60 seconds. Tell me exactly what you saw." Maya steps forward, points out the lines of code, says, "You're trying to lock down the breach, but they already got in before your diagnostics updated. Through a dummy file, I think. I can find it." She pulls a napkin from her pocket, covered in a map she'd drawn numbers, lines, connections. Clara says, "Draw it again on my glass wall." Maya, barely above a whisper, "Can my dad stay?" Clara nods. So there's my kid, in her hoodie, drawing the fate of $1 billion company with mop water still on her sleeves. There's this hush engineers just watching as Maya sketches out a web of protocol paths and redirects, neat and precise. She explains how the rogue code is disguised as a backup sync, feeding it credentials every 10 minutes. Clara crosses her arms. "So how do we stop it?" Maya looks at me. I nod, and she says, "Lock out all local mirrors. Rebuild the admin tree from the core of the fallback node in San Jose." There's a beat of silence. The engineers are stunned. "You mean the physical backup?" "That's why it's clean." The techs scatter, and I kneel by Maya. "How'd you know?" She just shrugs. "I read the manuals last year when you cleaned the copy room." I put it together. Upstairs, the board's in chaos, emergency calls, legal whispers, Clara striding through the halls with Maya's napkin diagram clutched in her hand. Down in the server room, engineers are scrambling under Maya's instructions. She sits, swinging her feet, eating a granola bar like none of this is a big deal. I tell her, "I'm going to get fired." She says, "No, you're not. You didn't break anything." Suddenly, they need her upstairs. There's 5 minutes left on the clock to stop the breach. Clara promises me Maya will be safe, and that if she pulls this off, she won't be just a janitor's daughter anymore. In the emergency control suite, lights dimmed, red alerts everywhere. Maya sits at a secure console, 3 engineers behind her, doubting everything. But when her fingers touch the keys, the room goes still. She navigates through layers of security like she belongs there. "We're in," someone breathes. She types a final command: "Shut down all local bridges." Alarms stop. Monitors clear. The threat's isolated. Maya turns to me, quiet. "Can we go home now?" Clara steps forward. "You just saved a corporation from a multi-million-dollar catastrophe." Maya shrugs. "I just didn't want the screen to lie." If you're watching this thinking Maya's just lucky it, she saw what no one else could. And right then, Clara offered her a seat, not to clean, but to learn. Offer me a promotion, too. Outside, the sun was finally up, and I realized Maya had rewritten our future with nothing but a napkin and the truth. Word spread fast. In the break room the next morning, Maya's sipping chocolate milk, people eyeing her like she's a legend. Clara thanks her for how she kept her head when everyone else lost theirs. Later, Maya's sitting in front of the entire board, answering questions about how she saw what trained IT couldn't. They laugh when she says she doesn't want to wear anything with shoulder pads, but that's Maya honest, sharp, always looking for the why. A week later, the senior cyber defense officer Julian notices her unconventional flowcharts, the kind that fix latency spikes. She points out a sleeper script no one else caught, stopping another breach. It isn't luck, it's instinct, and suddenly, she's part of something bigger than herself. Then, a twisted new consultant arrives, Everett Kane, ex-FBI, a man who's seen things he can't put in a report. Together, they uncover ghost nodes, a relay that mimics internal traffic planted by someone on the inside, hiding in plain sight. Maya's the one who spots the signature, leads the team straight to a mastermind. Mason Trent, head of internal IT, a trusted mentor gone rogue, building a ghost company from inside the walls. The chase takes days detective work, code tracing, a citywide hunt. Maya's clone firewall catches Mason's last gambit, isolating an autonomous loop he built to finish the job after he ran. She redirects it into a sandbox, trapping the ghost, and Clara tells her he underestimated who was watching. When the dust settles, the company is saved, not just from theft, but from being hollowed out from the inside. Clara stands in front of the board, saying, "Maya wasn't looking for wolves, she listened to the code." The story doesn't end there. Maya is brought into the fold, given a badge that reads Junior Systems Advisor, her dad promoted, her place cemented not because she's the loudest in the room, but because she's the one who listens when it matters. And, the story's never just about the big dramatic moments. It's the way Maya still sits quietly, sketches in her notebook, learns that understanding people is as important as understanding code. She gets invited to secret meetings with the Cyber Threat Response Unit, flagged as the one who caught the breach before it was too late. They tell her the network she disrupted was only the beginning of a whole world of hidden threats waiting for someone who's not afraid to see what others overlook. In the end, as the company gathers to honor her, Maya says, "Sometimes being quiet means you're the only one actually listening." I watch her stand a little taller, no longer invisible, and realize courage isn't always about charging, and it's about choosing not to look away when the world throws the moment at you. So what do you think? He's the real hero, the one who shouts the loudest, or the one who quietly changes everything? Drop a comment. Let's see what you believe. Who do you trust when no one's watching, those who make the most noise, or those who see what others miss?